Hey there, Ian France here. I wanted to make a quick video about a post I saw on Twitter where somebody was calling out a company for asking users who wanted to retrieve a paper for 11 pieces of compulsory data points and before they could retrieve and read this article the company put online. And there's actually been quite a few things that I've seen around people saying, well, data privacy is important and we need to have data governance and not everybody should be able to review and look at articles or pieces of data that are, published. And I wanted to challenge that a little bit because that's becoming a popular idea and there's things that are being left out of the conversation. One of the first things is that it's you don't own everything that's a data-driven element about yourself, like your phone number. You actually do not own the telephone number that you lease from the telephone company, what you pay a service charge to have, the number and the service. It's fairly simple point, but that's not a piece of data that I, as a buyer, as someone who has a phone, has a cell phone number, I can't destroy it. It does not reside with me, and I use that as one of the initial tests for when people are talking about, oh, you have to be careful about private data, and we can't be looking at this and that piece of information. One of the questions I ask is the person who has this data capable of destroying it? Can they remove the fact that this piece of data is around? Another example is your house address. I pay the city of Portland a tax based upon my house, my location, services and fees rendered, property size, all those things that when you go down your tax return, they're itemized and they talk about why you pay your property taxes. It's not my address. I happen to reside at this number and this street name, but I don't own the data around that piece of information. Again, it fails my destruction test as well. Um, so, what pieces of information might? Well, actually, let me give another thing that people don't typically associate with this, but I don't think you own as well, and that is the sum of some of the pieces of content that you create. And I've been making videos. These videos run X amount of length, and there's a size that's associated with that. I don't own that size. That was not an explicit piece of material that I really intended of making. It's simply a byproduct of what's been made. So I don't get to own that outright, that there's this other piece of data that is just a sum total that has no bearing at all on what I do or what I care about, really. And people are really they're upset about the way that data is being used as sort of a general catch-all term, and it's acquiring some people who are getting into the realm that don't really know what it is that they're doing, and this is frustrating to people who've taken the time to actually learn the pieces of um, the data elements that are personal and that are what are publicly available pieces of information, like the GPS coordinates of my house. I don't get to own that. There's a lot of pieces of data as you start thinking about it, you start questioning why people are talking about this and in very strange ways. Um, so I just wanted to put those ideas out there, something that I'm observing, and I hope that you find this informative as maybe a counter example to why you don't get to control every piece of data. See ya.